And joining us now to discuss this story is Małgorzata Bonikowska, President at the Center for International Relations and Professor at the University of Warsaw. Hello and welcome to TVP World.
Good morning.
So let's take a look at this issue from a political angle. Do you think that the leaders of the three countries, and by extension also the defense ministers, are taking part in that summit, but really thinking about the implications of a possible win by Donald Trump in the US elections? Because this, if it happens, would clearly realign the situation here, perhaps putting a greater emphasis on the Weimar Triangle in the context of the war in Ukraine in particular.
Yes, indeed. That's a very important factor for the Europeans to discuss the issue concerning security internally. And of course, with Poland, a new government, the government is much more open than the previous one with the talks to the closest neighbors, especially to Germany and France as well, as far as security is concerned. And I think the major talks concern also the new decisions at the EU level. We are talking about a new commissioner's possibility, new commissioner for security, understood as a commissioner for security industries, actually, which means better cooperation and deeper coordination of the industries of the EU countries, especially those countries who have very strong military industries, such as France and Germany, but also Poland, who aspires to be, one of the leading countries producing weapons. We have a long tradition of doing that even during the socialist times, but now Poland is back to the EU major talks about security, and we want to cooperate better as far as our industry with the European partners as well. But let's not forget that in the same time, Poland, especially under the previous government, built very, very strong tie-ups as far as security with the US and other partners such as Korea. South Koreans are important providers of weapons to Poland as well. So I think this point of view will have to be also seen in the discussions with Germans and French.
And following what you just mentioned, how do you think can the relationship between the EU and NATO be strengthened through this Weimar Triangle?
Well, indeed, I think Weimar Triangle for Poland, now it's a very important format to reopen the relations with Germany and France. Number one, because it wasn't really the best period for these relations during the previous government, especially we had very many tensions with Germany. Now that's over, which does not mean that we, with everything we agree. We have a lot of contradictory interests between these three countries. But nevertheless, three of us, we are important EU players. So Weimar Triangle gives Poland the opportunity to be back at the more or less equal level with Germany and France. And then for Germany and France, it's also a good format to find a new equilibrium. Everybody knows that the personal relations between Macron and Scholz are not really very good, but in the same time, France and Germany remain the key countries for the EU projects and for many, many decisions which we all in the EU want to be taken smoothly. So I think Weimar Triangle, after the EU elections, with the new landscape of political parties' strength in the EU Parliament, and just fronting the discussions about the new Commission, it is a very useful format for three countries to discuss the issues which are the most important for them.
Do you think that paradoxically, following the elections, Poland may actually become stronger within the Weimar Triangle, since, well, Emmanuel Macron faces something of a precarious position? Some commentators have gone as far as calling the current European leaders, with the exception of perhaps Giorgia Meloni, as lame ducks. I mean, this is perhaps going too far. Still, Poland, with a stable government, with a long-standing democratic mandate, could it actually translate this stability into a stronger position in its negotiations with its partners?
Well, of course, the results of the European elections are good for Donald Tusk and his coalition, especially for Civic Platform. which made his personal position and also his party's position much stronger within the European People's Party. Not all the coalition members of this government in Poland were so lucky. For example, Polska 2050, which is a partner or a member of Renew Europe group, meaning liberals, didn't really succeed. So there are some parties in the coalition of Donald Tusk which may not feel stronger but weaker after the elections. Nevertheless, the position of Donald Tusk personally as a Polish prime minister gives him all the chances and all the cards to not only play very well within the Weimar Triangle, but also be one of the most important leaders at the EU level, generally. Also, as we take into consideration the talks concerning the top jobs. So definitely, Tusk and Poland will have an impact on the new landscape in the EU.
Małgorzata Bonikowska was our guest today here on TVP World. Thank you very much for joining us and for sharing your expertise.
Thank you. Have a nice day.